Hold on, you're not coming through my headphones. Can you hear me?
I can. I hear you great. Can you hear me?
Not in my headphones.
You see that little gear down there at the bottom?
Yeah, I'm about to external headphones. What about now?
Uh, you mean you always sound good to me. Look at you. You look young. Augustus Link did a bunch of rope climbs in the Savage Ones, Born Primitive Savage Ones yesterday. Held up the best out of any shoe that I've tried recently. No actual damage, but a little aesthetical rope burn on the logo and tongue. the old rope climb. Dude, you're getting. How old are you, Ronnie?
I believe I'm 41 or 42.
You got younger. You look younger.
Ah, well, I don't know about that. But I am spending a lot of time outside and doing all the things, earthing and that helps.
Raw, last time I talked to you, I thought there was some talk about a haircut, and now it is more. It's changed. It's longer, and I think
Yeah.
maybe something else is changing too. I can't tell exactly what it is. Maybe it's the weight of the hair,
Well,
the
I
way it.
actually I wear it down now. I usually always have it up in a bun,
Hmm.
but it was getting way too heavy. It was getting so heavy that it was hurting my head because it was always leaning to one side and pulling. So now I pretty much always wear it down. And so that's different. And then yeah, there's some groups of hair that go down to my mid thighs. So it's getting pretty long. But do I cut it? I don't know. I'm open to a cut when I feel that that sign comes into my reality, but for now it's long.
What about just like what about just the practical nature of it, like just like getting caught in shit, like I didn't have
What's
long
that?
hair, but I had a man bun for a while and I had it like this, and it was just I was just tending to it too much, and that's like you have a lot of hair to it's like it's in shit, it's like part of your life, you know what I
All
mean,
the
right?
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I was at Soho House yesterday in Malibu, and it was a buffet, and I was very difficult to manage my hair getting all over the buffet food for everyone else. But I walk past, I get stuck in trees. If I get in my car, I sit on it. Like it's always there. Sleeping is a huge issue slash hassle, but it's just what it is. I figured if I cut my hair, I'm probably never going to have it this long for the rest of my life. So
Mhm.
even though there is some
Mm, mm,
inconveniences, I'm
mm.
enjoying it as it is right now.
I am attached to it. I would be. I do like your hair long. Hey, I turned his mic up. Does that work, guys? I know. I feel like I'm really loud and he's really soft. I turned his mic up.
I can increase my gain, but
I turned you up on the settings for the podcast settings.
all right.
Does that work? Raw sounds really low.
I also have a sound check, sound check. I turned up my Roadcaster a little bit.
Are you liking the Roadcaster? How long have you had the Roadcaster?
6 months or so. Yeah, it's pretty good. I also can talk louder like I am now, or I can automatically adjust my mic sound in the settings on StreamYard, I believe.
I turned you way up on street. Sevi is just loud. I can hear. Okay, here I'll turn
All
myself
right,
down. How's that? Better?
automatic mic adjust.
I turned myself down.
I like all the sponsors
Thanks.
you have all on here. That's good to see.
The Paper Street Coffee's been around forever, and CA Peptides has been around forever, and then Matuthine is my new tooth powder.
Yeah, I was just looking at it online, actually.
And then Vindicate's the people who sell the CEO shirts. And BirthFit's kind of is a strange. I never expected those people to be partnered with those people, but I'm like fully aligned with those people.
Yeah.
Like so we have these are all the people I have relationships with, and then my actual sponsors you just hear on Spotify and iTunes. Those are like people who just give you money, like DraftKings or Sleep 8 or people like I don't even like I don't know what I'm not into I'm not doing their product. You know what I mean? I'm not like I know
Lindsay, does BirthFit, is Lindsay running that? Who's
Yeah, Lindsay Cantu.
all right.
Hey dude, her I turned you up again. Sorry, you put it to automatic. I turned you up again. Hey, Lindsay Cantu is her mentor. You've got to meet her mentor. You're doing a podcast now, right?
Yeah.
And how often are you doing it?
Oh, every week.
And is it on YouTube?
I just released my first episode publicly on YouTube. It's called, it's on my Raw of Earth YouTube channel. It's called Self-Expansion Podcast. The first one was just released. I interviewed a channel. So she wrote a book, Conversations with the Earth. And
that's the Lady Hathor.
Yeah, well, she's channeling Hathor in the podcast. And Hathor's a divine feminine essence, but another entity out of this world. I forgot to put on my wedding ring this morning, so I'm going to make one.
I want to stay with the superficial before we go anywhere else. Why did you just release to YouTube? You've been just going to Spotify and iTunes?
No, I started another podcast about 6 months ago, and that was called Subject Matter Expert Show.
Oh, yeah, I remember. We talked about that.
Yeah, and I did a pilot season of that, and it was just way too much work. The concept that I had, it was a lot of editing. And so I put a pause on that. I'll probably start it back up. And then now I'm just doing a traditional podcast like this with all the people that I know. And so now I'm starting that up. I do it live like you're doing in a private community, and then I release publicly. But if you click on the word podcasts right there, there's the one episode.
Oh.
Yes, you can have your own podcast channel in YouTube.
Oh, that's interesting.
Welcome to now, everybody.
On your homepage, can you have in
terms of energy?
I need to optimize all of this.
I wonder if on your homepage you can get it as one of the.
You're right, I can, but I just need to select that option.
Because I don't know if I like. I don't really understand.
You're right.
Yeah, I don't know if I understand YouTube anymore.
I need to have it as one of those things. But like I said, there's only one episode so far. I'm taping them right now, but now I'm releasing them every single week.
Hey, why do you only release it to your community at first? Why not do it live for everyone? It's like a bonus or a?
Why don't I do it live for everyone? Because the goal is to build a community that I don't have to play to the algorithms on Instagram and even YouTube doing it live here.
Yeah.
So part of the incentive to get people to join the community is having exclusive interviews. And then once that gets built up, I can think about bringing the live interviews to a real live public audience. But right now it's just the private community. It's free to be in the community.
Right. I don't know if it's still like this, but so basically all of our shows go live to just whoever.
Right.
And then for some shows, I don't know if it's all shows, maybe Caleb can answer this, but for some shows, you can only comment in the chat if you're a subscriber. And I think that was just, is that still for all the shows, Caleb?
No, you have to change the settings for each individual show.
Oh, okay. You can't just make that the default setting.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So I think when we're going to do like really big shows, like if we're going to do like a live big CrossFit event and we're trying to like get more subscribers, we make it so only subscribers can chat.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
And are these, subscribers.
Just subscribers to the channel. You just, like I just subscribed to your channel. I click subscribe and then chose all notifications. Then once you do that and you've been a subscriber for 5 minutes, you can start commenting in the chat.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think YouTube's getting really sophisticated, and I think that it might be one of the, I mean, it already is the main channel, but I
Right.
think it's definitely going to get more and more popular, especially if TikTok's going away.
Hey, and do you use TikTok?
I've just repurposed all my stuff on TikTok, but I really don't get TikTok. I've never been able to monetize TikTok. I do have an audience there that I have very low engagement though.
I mean, your Instagram account got big since the last time I had you on.
Yeah, it's decent. I think I could definitely do it in a more professional, optimized way, but it's just me running the whole show. So
What
there's
does
a
that
lot
mean,
of holes.
professional? What do you mean?
Well, there's just a lot of holes in what I'm doing. Like if I want to if I have an idea for a
Mhm.
piece of content, actually doing it there's a gap between the idea of video, pictures.
Mm.
I mean, I pretty much just put captions on my video and they're just talking head videos, which doesn't really play to the algorithm very well.
I mean, shit, dude, 150,000 followers. I mean, that's great. I want to say the last time I had you on, you had like 50.
Maybe. There's also I have a part I'm doing a lot of work with. I think I was maybe hovering around 100
Oh, you were? Okay. I
then,
mean,
but I'm
still
not.
50 is huge, a huge growth.
And yeah, so there's just only so much I can do on my own though. So it's really lazy. If I had some, and I also do a lot of interviews and a lot of lives, and that all needs to be cut up into content, and then I just don't have the time or the bandwidth to do it all like I would like to do it, like a
Right.
professional team, like I said.
Did you try the AI reel maker? It's like called Opus or something. Have you tried that? Have you fucked with
I've
that?
I've tried that. I also have Decipher,
Mm-hmm.
which
I don't
breaks
know that
down
one.
Decipher breaks down long form content, like podcasts especially, into show notes and chapters and keywords and titles. So I use Decipher a lot. And Decipher also does what Opus does, but very poorly. And I also did try Opus when it first came out, and it never it would produce maybe 10 to 15 reels, and one of them maybe was good. So I don't know if it's still that bad.
Dude, that I got Opus. It's relatively inexpensive compared to like I also got some AI dubbing software, which is crazy expensive to start a Portuguese channel. But I tried Opus makes all my podcasts into 50 reels. And by the time I've gone through all 50 reels, there's only one or two I like.
Right.
And then I'm like, well, I could have just watched the whole podcast again and made my own. I'm just like, I don't know, man.
They're
That's
not complete thoughts.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Turn it up when Raw talks, turn it down when Sevi talks. I could just keep turning myself down. Here, I'll turn myself down even more. How's that? I can just keep turning myself down. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, just keep telling me until the audios are good. Have you ever
Sound check.
Have you ever had issues with your audio before? No, if you're the has anyone ever said your audio is low?
Hold on, let me make sure I'm actually using my microphone.
You are. Tap it with your finger. I hear it. When you put your mouth to it, it sounds good.
Yeah, the problem is if I turn my mic up, sound check, sound check, sound check, sound check. Hello, hello. Sometimes you start hearing scratching. Do you guys hear any scratching?
No, you sound great. What do you,
All
do you
right.
on your Roadcaster, that little dial, do you have it like at the 50-yard line or below the 50-yard line?
It's a little below the 50.
Okay, and I have mine a lot below, 3 dots below the 50. No, it's better. Sean says it's better.
Yeah, I just turned up the digital knob, so I'm at 58 dB. But I'm in the green zone. Before I wasn't in the green zone.
I don't also want to rule out that the entire audience has hearing issues. I mean, let's be realistic. Let's be. Can he fit the whole mic into his mouth? A different show. Wrong channel. Hey, did you choose that blue cover for a reason?
Blue. I just like blue.
It looks good.
I ordered. Did I order the pink one? I don't think I ordered the pink one, but I ordered a blue, an orange, and then a whole bunch of other ones for another mic that we have. But yeah, somewhere in Europe, microphone covers
blue.
You can find it. Yeah, they have this color pink too. which
Are
I
you
thought was cool.
are you still married?
Yes,
How's that going?
really good, really good. We moved to Ventura, so we moved out of LA again, and Ventura's close enough to LA where we can go there whenever we want. It takes an hour to get into LA. And we really like our lifestyle. We play tennis almost every single day. Yeah, we live right by the beach, ride our bikes. Yeah, so life is good.
I played tennis yesterday, and one of my toenails, one of my toenails is. I looked down in the shower this morning. It's all fucked up. It's like black and blue. I knew. I was playing with my 9-year-old son, and he was beating me up pretty good. And I knew. Do you ever fuck your toenails up doing tennis?
No, I bought some tennis shoes. At first, I was resistant.
Those are gnarly. My son wears tennis shoes too. Those are gnarly. They're like rock climbing shoes, kind of like one level down. The way they're really tight to your feet,
Yeah.
right? It's like almost like you're barefoot, but it's like Japanese binding.
I was wearing like barefoot shoes,
Uh-huh.
like grounding shoes or the 5 fingers, and my wife was like, "There's no way you're gonna play tennis in that." So we went to a tennis store, and she bought shoes, and I just bought the ones on clearance.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't really into it, but they do make a difference because they hold everything still.
It's kind of crazy. So when my son was younger, he would play a lot of tennis barefoot, and the tennis coach is like, "Hey, dude, you can't do that." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because when you're running laterally and you have to slow down, you drag your back foot to slow yourself down. It's the brakes, and he's not going to learn that skill if he's barefoot because no one's going to drag their foot." So he got tennis shoes, and like you said, they're like we were talking, they're really tight because they have to be basically become one with your feet. So one time I played tennis with him in those old man Keen sandals. You know what
Yeah.
I played in those, and because my foot I really hurt my knee. I mean, it recovered, but you can't have a shoe that's like loose on your feet either. You'll fuck your knee up. And so
Right.
the only thing is suffer through the foot binding so that, I mean, it's basically warrior gear. Yeah, I was wearing some dumb shit like that. Come on, Caleb. Come on, Caleb. Be cool, fool. Why you got to do me like that? It was fine.
Those old man trail hikers.
So it's basically warrior gear. It's like they protect you. They let you play better. It's weird. I still don't own a pair, but every time, soon as we get to the car, I love taking off his shoes for him. I sit him in the seat and I have him face me. I take his shoes off, and I like looking at his face as I take his shoes off because I see his whole face go because he plays so much, and his poor toes.
Yeah, I actually put them on when I get to the tennis court and take them off when I'm leaving because they are pretty stiff.
Yeah, as soon as you're done, you want them off. Like you gotta let the toes like get out, right?
Yeah.
But it's cool that it's warrior gear. It's like you realize, hey, if you're gonna play, it's equipment.
Yeah, it's exactly equipment. And I played hockey my whole life, so I actually like the way I stop is really aggressive because I think I'm just used to like it's almost like a hockey stop when I'm stopping and starting on the court. It's probably not correct, but
you play tap tennis or like you learn in the real strokes with top spin and back.
All of that. It's been 2 months. My wife used to play in the USTA when she was younger, so not like pro level, but that was where she was going. Her brother is a pro though, so she played when she was very young. She hasn't played in 20 years though, so she's really good, and I hit with her.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy being outside. I also enjoy doing, something fun with my wife that's not just sitting there and talking, which I also enjoy listening, but I'm not so much into talking. So it's really good to do something athletic and fun with her. We met in a gym, so we used to do CrossFit together, and it's been a while since we've been athletic together.
Tensions ever run high when you're playing tennis? Like it gets competitive?
With her, I think it does. But
I mean, tensions run high with my son.
Yeah, I mean,
he can get really intense. He can get really intense. He'll start doing this like weird laugh right before he cries, and if he's behind in points, and I see him go through some shit.
Have you seen that movie about Serena's or Serena and Venus.
I watched the
About the
doc and
father.
the movie. Yeah, I watched the
Yeah.
movie with Will Smith, Mr.
Yeah.
Slapper Man, and and I watched the doc. Yeah, did you watch both of them?
I think just the movie,
Okay.
because there's that scene where he's basically telling them they have to have fun and to not get angry after. And I thought that's really important for tennis because it is all about you. It's like a lot of pressure.
The coach, many years ago, I heard him tell my son. He said, "Hey, the best tennis players in the world have only won their games, have only scored like in aggregate of all their games, like 55% of the points. Like the 3 best players in the world. That's like the best people have scored 55% points, meaning that it's fucking always close, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And he also said this, the game's never over because there's no clock. So until you lose, you're still in it. And I'm like, oh my God. And so there's games where, you know, he's down 5. We play these games to 11. We have like our own little thing we do. And there's games where it'll be 5-10 and you're like, holy shit, I'm still in it. But man, your mindset is just fucked, right? You're just like, hey, I'm just going to take the L. But it's like you said, it's crazy pressure. You're still in it because there's no clock until you lose.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a good lesson.
It's not like basketball where the clock's against you.
Right. And if you're down, then the more time that goes, the less likely it is for you to come back.
What is this? Those are the longest games. There was an 11-hour game.
Yeah, and it spanned 3 days. These are the top 3 longest games in tennis history.
Holy crap, dude. 7 hours.
Yeah. Fuck that.
I played basically as hard as I could yesterday. I think probably for like 80 minutes, and I was worked.
Did you play tennis before?
No. I got to the car, and I'm taking off his shoes, and I look at him, and I go, hey, dude, 9 years ago, if you had asked me if I would have a son, I'd have said, fuck no. And if you'd have told me I'd be playing tennis, I'd be like, not in a million years. And now it's like my favorite thing to do is play tennis with my 9-year-old son. It's weird. He started laughing, gave me a big hug and a kiss. He said, I love you. I said, thanks.
It's a fun game. It's getting the ball in the little holes in the court and running. Yeah. It's very like kid game to me, but I think that's fun to play as an adult.
You ever hit your racket on the ground yet?
Not on purpose.
No,
Not
okay.
Like,
not out of like, fuck this thing. No. I haven't done that either, but my son a couple years ago broke a racket on the ground. And then I made him tell his coach. And man, his coach was pissed. Hey, he hit his racket on the ground raw and broke it. And it was like, it was caved in on the side and the strings were all loose. And I go, holy shit, dude, you just broke $120 racket. And he's like, it's fine. It's fine. He's like pulling this out. It's fine. I'm like, come on, dude. He hasn't done it again. Yesterday, we hadn't talked about it in a couple of years. He goes, you remember the coach told me if I ever break another racket, I have to sit out for 2 months. I'm like, yeah, I remember. But I get the sentiment of wanting to hit your racket on the ground. I understand it.
Yeah. Yeah. So when that happens, you have to go into father mode, right? And handle the situation very consciously. And you said you just broke $120 racket. Did that mean something to him?
He was tripping. He was so embarrassed. And I just tell him, I said, hey, dude, everything you're feeling is right. You should be embarrassed. No one thinks it's cool to lose control. I go, now listen, if you did it on purpose, like to lose control, like I'm all for showing off, but like, I don't think that's what you did. Is that what you're doing? He's like, no. I'm like, yeah, like I'm all for conscious stunts, but I'm like, man, you had a thought and you let it take you over. I explain it to him just like how I perceive how the human mind works, you know? And he got it. And I go, and hey, dude, emotional energy is the most powerful energy. Don't ever, like, if you wanted to do that, I'm all for you doing it. But if you didn't want to do that, you just look at your whole, because he fell into shambles. He was crying. I'm like, look, you've fallen into shambles. There's a place and a time for that, but I don't think you wanted this to be that time. And I think he got it.
Yeah.
So
The brain goes through different states of awareness, right? So he goes into the emotional, and that takes resources away from the logical brain. And so then you just act out of emotion. But you can even degrade, I guess degrade's a little bit accurate. You can degrade into your survival brain. And that's when he realizes something's, he did something wrong. And then you get maybe even scared, or that's where the crime comes
I
in.
think he did. Yeah, I think he did scare himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're into like the primitive, like, am I even safe in this environment? And it's almost like he goes through the process, and you get to watch it as a father, and hopefully you stay in your logical and not go into emotional and start reacting to his reaction.
I did not yell at him at all. I just like my newest, I shouldn't say my newest thing, but the thing that I've embraced the most over the years is like, I'll be like, hey, we're going to the garage right now to work out. And one of them will be like, hey, my ankle hurts. And I'll be like, hey, dude, I totally trust you. You can do you'll do what you can do. And 9 out of 10 times, they just get through it. Like, that works. They're like, or hey, we're going to a jiu-jitsu tournament. They're like, I don't want to go. I don't want to do it. I'm like, no problem. I totally trust you.
Mm-hmm.
You'll make the right decision when we get there. And 9 out of 10 times, they like, because I don't want to take any of their power. They're trying to give their power to me, right? They're trying to have me make decisions for them. And I've already made the boundaries. They already know we do jiu-jitsu. The rules that I've taken the power from them is that they know they have to do jiu-jitsu, whatever, 5 or 6 days a week. They have to go to practice. They have to put their gi on. They have to go to the tournament. They have to, but once we get there, like, I trust you. And one of my kids has only done 3 of the 10 tournaments, and I don't fucking harsh him at all. Because I know it's eating away. I know personally, like, it's eating away at him because he knows he's really good. And he's going to have to eventually jump through that rope and regather all that power. But I'm not taking it from him. I'm not making the decisions for him. No fucking way. But a lot of people will make decisions. I mean, that's what the government does. That's why people like the government. Because it takes the power from them, makes the decisions for them.
Right.
I ain't doing that. Or I try not to do it.
So what about other things like creativity and
I learned that working with retards, by the way. When I worked at a home for disabled adults, they're trained to give away the power. The system trains them to give away the power. And I learned quickly, oh shit, don't take the power, decision-making power from them. Sorry, go ahead.
Do you take them, do they get to invest their time and energy in other things besides athletics? Like,
yeah, yesterday they came into my office and took a fucking lighter from my office. I have this lighter where it's a USB-C lighter, and like you turn it on and it makes an arc so you can start a fire. I've never even used it. And they came in here and opened one of my drawers, and after about an hour I realized, oh, they're in the backyard starting fires.
That's what boys do.
Yeah, I know, totally. And it was so great because I told my wife to see how she'd react to fuck with her. She's like, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, damn.
Well, you have a big yard. If they burn down some of it, it's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, they get tons of free time. Tons and tons of free time. I mean, they need it in between events to bring them home, open the door. And like you said, you've been to my house. They're go do your thing. My son told me the other day he wants to be a rapper, and he wrote his first rap.
Nice.
Yeah, and I rapped it for him. He didn't even want to rap it. He wrote it, and I rapped it for him.
That's a good combo.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. What if he wants to work on his writing instead of going to jiu-jitsu?
No. You gotta do jiu-jitsu, tennis, and skateboarding, and those are in school, right? You have to do those things: piano, Armenian. Like, there are these things that they do, and then, but they're only 7 and 9. They don't know. Do you remember when you used to go to school as a kid? You just went to school, just no questions asked. You just get up, you go to school, you get it. So those are the things that they do, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I've justified it that they're gonna thank me. Like, they're never gonna be like, when they're 18 years old and they're purple belts, they're not going to be, or brown belts, or they're not going to be like, holy shit, you're a dick.
Right, for teaching me how to defend myself.
Yeah, they're never going to be like, there's times where they'll be like, I don't want to skate. And I'll be like, cool, then just go, we're going to the skate park anyway. You can do what you want there. I never like make them do the activity. So we'll go to jiu-jitsu, and one of my boys will be like, I have a stomach ache. I go, no problem. But we still go. We watch, but they always jump in. Same with, so in Avi just did his 11th jiu-jitsu tournament this week, and it was the first jiu-jitsu tournament ever where he had no problems. Like, no, he just went out there and did it. And then afterwards, the boy that beat him in the no-gi, his dad's actually a fighter. His dad's a black belt, so my son had no chance because he's got me as a dad. But they hung out for 3 hours afterwards, and I didn't even see where they were. And he's never done that. He's never had 3 hours away from me. And he would just come check in with me like he came back to me one time. He's like, hey, the boys are watching something on a cell phone called Minecraft. Can I watch that? I'm like, yeah. But I said, thanks for asking. Watching something on a cell phone. Hey, I had this, there's this when people hear new ideas, they fill in the blanks, right? So when people talk about flat earthers, they're like, well, what is it? It's just how do you not fall off the edge? And I'm like, hey dude, there is no edge. Like, you're like, cause I had a flat earther on here, 2 of them.
Mhm.
I'm like, you're projecting your idea, the globalist theory, right? Or globalist reality with the flat earth theory. And I go, there is no edge. You're still thinking that you think it's like a disc now floating in space with other discs. It's not. Like, you're mixing the 2 ideas. You have to accept the fact that it's just one giant piece of flat land that we're on, and or whatever. And when I think of channeling, it's the same thing. I really don't understand channeling. So when this lady you have on is channeling a being, is it really like they're like, I picture someone in a room like in heaven sitting there and like sending them, like, you know what I mean? And like sending them, like talking to them and sending it through the air.
Well, yeah, so that's that. I like how you position that, because that's not how it is.
Yeah, so tell me how it is. Yeah, because I don't get channeling. Is it really an entity? Is it really like something that's like later on that thing will be taking a shit somewhere and wiping its butt?
These are good projections, because that's our concept of reality, is that if we're speaking to something else, it's an alien with 2 eyes, a mouth, legs. But the way that consciousness develops through matter is like us being in a materialistic realm. This is just one stage of the game, and we experience time linearly within this material environment, and we also experience an individual body. And these things are not constant throughout the universe or throughout life. It's just how we define life on planet Earth. But that's not how all life exists. So we need to broaden our definition of life if we're going to accept the notion of other entities. And so with a channel, so for instance, what I mean by that is that if you can imagine an evolution of consciousness going through different states of being. Right now, we're in a stage where we're an individual entity that experiences linear time. We have self-awareness, and we have awareness that we're an individual separate from everybody else on this planet. Eventually, though, our consciousness, which is being essentially downloaded into our body.
Oh, something just happened.
I saw that.
Your mic works now.
I just fucked with it because it was starting to do the scratchy thing, and now it works. So
On my headphones.
Did it get really loud on your headphones?
No, I mean, I don't hear myself on my headphones, but I do hear the scratchiness every time I speak.
Okay, you want to lower it a little?
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, look, the sound got awesome. No, it's okay. It's good. We'll rewind it back 8 seconds and start over.
That should be better.
Are we good now, guys? Look, the demon was channeled. Yeah, that's what I thought as soon as we started talking about channeling. Now his volume is perfect. Okay, shit. All right. Okay, so consciousness, evolution, something like that.
Yeah, so if we imagine, so I'll go a few steps before us. There's the elements: earth, air, water, light. These eventually combine to make plants and animals, right? And plants and animals, we can say, are aware. So, like a bee isn't really self aware. They're in this hive mind, but they're aware. There's a job to do, there is a survival instinct. And then at a high level, so there's a spectrum from being aware to self aware. And if you look at like a gorilla or even a dog, they're self aware. They're trying to attain a harem, they're protecting a territory because they're aware of themselves and their need to fit into an environment and thrive in it. So once an animal gets to that edge of the spectrum, then they can be essentially graduated to a human being. And the spectrum of a human being, a lower level human being, is self-aware. They're just learning self-awareness. So it's always about me, I want, I want, I want. But if we know what comes next, I made a little wedding ring. uh, if we know what comes next after the human being, then we can see where the edge of the spectrum is. And if what comes next after the human being as we know it is a human that can interact with all other humans. So instead of being just aware of self, we become aware of other individuals. And that shows up with people in terms of like psychic or empathic people, that when they walk into a room, they can feel the emotions of everybody else. And these types of people, they exist. They're being born onto this planet. A lot of people with kids, or their kids are talking about knowing the thoughts or even talking about other lifetimes, which is another conversation, existing on other planets. Kids are talking about that nowadays. But eventually you become aware of everybody's emotions. And then the stage after that, you become aware of everybody's mental thoughts. So the reason why we're here is to go through this process. Right now, we're in the process as humans of making ourselves strong individuals. And with each individual component, we will get stronger when we start to merge back into oneness. And we're having an individual experience now so that we can share our experiences with each other. And just like a cell in our body is an individual that has its awareness, but doesn't necessarily have the same awareness of us, which make up all of the cells. Like my liver cell right now has a job to do. It lives and dies. It goes through a life cycle. It eats, it excretes, but it doesn't really have the same awareness as me because I'm an organism of all of the cells within my body. We are a self, but we are also a cell of a larger organization. And that would be like the entire human civilization on this planet would eventually, there's a consciousness, not eventually, right now there's a consciousness that has an awareness of all of the humans on this planet. And at that level, you're not experiencing linear time. You're experiencing all of the selves, and you can travel through time to remember what it's like to be an individual. Like in the 1800s, you're a slave, or you can zoom your perspective into yourself, Sevan, doing this show right now. And so instead of us that maneuvers through just space along a linear time, there's a version of us that has the consciousness of the entire human species. And eventually we won't need to be individuals. So as we graduate as humans, as we ascend is the word, we won't really need individual bodies anymore. Once every single version of life has been lived on this planet in all of the different time frames, then we won't really need bodies anymore. And then we're just going to be a bodiless spirit or a soul, a bodiless, enlightened entity. And so a lot of these channelings are not coming from individual beings. They're coming from other density or other dimensional beings that are really a collection of entire civilizations of other planets that are now in one consciousness. And they give themselves names so that we as individuals can sort of understand what we're talking to. And so they give themselves names like Ra or Hathor or um, yeah, just individual names, but they're not really individuals. They're collections of entities. They're collections of life forms that have gone into a non-physical state. And because they're in a non-physical state, they're merged with more of the universe. So you could even say that they are us in a way. So that's how they can channel messages to us because they are us. But they're experiencing us in a different degree than we're experiencing us. It's like we're almost sort of part of the same consciousness.
Um, I saw this on your Instagram. I really like this. Here we go.
Want to be the light? Be
Oh
the
no, no. Sorry. Not this. Where is it? It was the one with how to treat other people. Shit. Maybe let me see if I have it in my notes. Hold on. But it kind of sums up what you were saying.
It's
Damn. I don't know where it is. I
it's a
labeled it
very
wrong.
short reel. Go up a little bit.
Do you know which one? So you do know which
Yeah,
one?
it's
Oh, here it is.
right there,
Yeah,
questioner.
here it is. How are we to treat others? There are no others.
Right.
That's treat people how you want to be treated is like is saying the same thing, but this is kind of like the next level of explanation of it.
Right.
How are
So
we to treat others? There are no others.
if you imagine you're a cell bumping into another cell, but you're all part of the same consciousness at a ascended degree, then it changes how you're treating others. You're no longer competing. You're not trying to war with somebody else so that you can get ahead. You realize that we're all brothers and sisters.
When you see groups of people, when you see like organizations, political organizations, or just any organizations, right? Let's say whether it be a country or a business or something. Do you ever think that they're chasing that kind of consciousness? Like when you see I haven't spent that much time in China, maybe a couple months, but when you see a country like China and how I imagine how it works, you're describing to me like bee consciousness. Like almost like they don't want to be humans and they want to go backwards. They want to do bee consciousness.
Yeah,
Do
so
you ever see that in the world? You're like, they're behaving like bees. They're doing bee consciousness.
hive mind.
Hive
Yeah,
mind.
I do. And the orchestrator of those organizations are the ones that know the game. They know the rules and you can see that they're aware of how this all works. They're aware of the capacity of the humans within their organization. And they also are aware of the law of free will, that they the humans that they're controlling are all volunteering to do it. So that's kind of where the like you were saying with your kids,
Like bees aren't volunteering. They're doing it because that's what bees do. But you're saying when humans do it, they're volunteering to do it. They're giving away their power and arguing their limitations because they don't have to do it, but they feel they build a story that they have to do it, but they don't really. They're using their free will to project onto themselves that they have to do it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, they are. That's where things like TV and the glorification of sports, which is just modern day gladiators, which is all meant to fulfill the mind. That's what government is. It's to govern the mind. And so the governments are satisfying the population by feeding them TV, by feeding them sex, sweets, alcohol.
You're
They
saying
said,
organize. You're saying even organized sports.
do, do 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 I think that organized sports are serving the agenda of the elite? Yes, they are. Absolutely. Think about it. I mean, there's stadiums, there's glorification, there's what is the well, how do these how does the Super Bowl make money? Like all the advertisement, what's the advertisement doing? It's selling us Coca-Cola, beer, cars to a degree are not, you could argue, are necessary, but just look at what the commercials are selling the people while they're in this sedated matrix like state of being. That's what television is. It's the matrix.
And it sells you other stuff too. It sells you like the NFL, Major League Baseball, and the NBA were selling that black skinned people are victims and they should embody victim. They sell the Pledge of Allegiance, so the organization of the country, right? They sell other things, like they sell all sorts of
And
shit.
right, ideologies.
Ideologies. They sell be loyal to your country. Yeah, they sell all sorts of stuff.
But the main thing of what I'm saying, which is I would admittedly say I don't know the answer to, and I would even say it's a struggle, is sports good or bad? Like that's a question that I'm wrestling with right now, because the ideology of it is competition. That's at the core, that's the foundation, that's what everything rests on. And so if there are no others, are we to be competing with each other or collaborating with each other? And there is both within a sport, especially a team sport. You're collaborating with your team for the sake of being competitive. And this is something that I don't necessarily have an answer to, but it is something that I wrestle with in my head. And I know that this is the, everything's about CrossFit and
Well,
and
here's the thing. It's like what I told him. If you're breaking your tennis racket because you want to break your tennis racket, by all means necessary, fucking get your racket, pull it back, and take your best shot. There's a difference between. It's kind of like in the Tao. It says when you should not, I don't know exactly how it goes, but basically when you're fighting another man, go into it wishing that you're fighting the best man that there is, right? I think what happens is a lot of unconscious beings parading around as conscious beings project things like, "Hey, he broke his racket and he was out of control." You don't know that. Only one person knows that, the person who broke their fucking racket. And
right.
it's like humility. It's like and things manifest in their own way, like the whole Conor McGregor thing. Like, people think he's acting. Or is that really who he is? Or is he conscious acting? Like, no one knows. He knows. So
Right.
as the viewer, you can either enjoy it or judge him for it or bring your own shit to it. But it's a trip. And I bring oh, here we go. This is called being flexible while advancing, pushing back without using force, and destroying the enemy without engaging him. There's no greater disaster than underestimating your enemy. Underestimating your enemy means losing your greatest asset. When equal force meet in battle, victory will go to the one that enters with the greatest sorrow. Oh, that's interesting too. That's not exactly what I was going for, but that's good. Yeah, it's like you can be competitive without you can engage in competitiveness without becoming competitive.
So what
You know
so
what I
you
mean?
bring it
So,
back
yeah,
to self.
yeah.
It's all a game to advance self and to even test self. And I think that that's noble. But yeah, there's can we apply that to a civilization so that there's a healthy relationship with sports?
This there's this description that Greg shared with me about Democrats and Republicans. We don't even have to use those words. Let's just say just two different kinds of people. There's people who want to well, let me go back a second. Remember what you said about free will?
Mhm.
Christians believe that there's unalienable rights that we have as humans.
The life, liberty. Yeah,
Pursuit of happiness, right? Something
right.
like that, right? And the people who don't let me just hold that thought there. So the premise of our country is built on that, right? Unalienable rights. Like we have unalienable rights, and those have to be protected at all costs. Then there's another group of people that think that you can take away the groups of the individual and give them to the group, right? So they think that they're acting like these hippies that I used to roll with. They think it's like peace and love and accept everyone, right? Even at the cost of taking rights away from the individual and giving them to the whole. So an example would be let people into school based on the color of their skin as opposed to just their merit. So now you've taken rights away from someone to give them to a group. And I'm trying to tie that to which avenue, because you see why they want to do that. They think they're pursuing the consciousness, like let's grow together as a whole, right? That's the peace, love, hippie thing. Let's grow as a whole. Let's grow as a whole. But you can't do that if you're taking away the rights of the individual. I guess my question to you is does it always come down to just the individual? The individual has to take care of themselves. It's like there's a paradox there. You have to be completely 100% selfish and take care of yourself in order to be the best for the whole. I know that's
I think that there's a shadow side and a light side to
Mhm.
everything. So
Mhm.
if you're no matter how you're thinking about reality, there's going to be a dark side to that. There's essentially the danger zone, and then there's going to be the great parts about it, and it's understanding the potential for it to go dark, even in perfect scenarios. But my thing is expanding the concept of self. So once we're internally integrated and have a healthy relationship with self, then we're able to externalize our awareness of self. And I start in my teachings with the elements because we always think about ourself as from the skin in. So everything from skin in, like you said, I will be selfish to protect everything from skin in. But if we start to realize that the reason why we think our organs are ourself and our heart is ourself is because it's inside of our body. And if we don't have our bones or our brain, we won't survive. And so I must protect this self. But also, if we don't have air or water or light or the earth, the minerals of the earth, we're not going to survive either. And so we can essentially build a relationship external of self. And we can even go into other humans within that, and even things like the government and the agenda and the elites. What how are those things as much of myself as I am to myself? And those are the questions that I I entertain and and ask those questions and then apply it and integrate them into my life because we can't survive. We all are breathing the same air. We all are drinking the same water. So is the water separate from us? Like that's a philosophical question, but also the more that you live within those parameters, you can start to feel external to yourself. You can start to communicate with the trees. You start to understand that I am more than just everything from skin in. And that's like adding another dimension to yourself. And that's waking up to a different level of yourself. And so that's where like when you mention the other side, it comes back to like, okay, I'm viewing it from an old paradigm.
Mhm.
I'm viewing it from like China is ruling their people or the government is doing this against me. But that's a stage that we can all choose to be in and view from that perspective, or we can view it from the perspective of I am everything.
Mm.
What if I am everything?
Mm.
How is me witnessing these atrocities benefiting my experience here? Like what is the point of it all?
Dude, so well said. So basically, automatically, it's a presupposition you're making to understand. The presupposition is it's them and us. And so all the answers you're going to get from that presupposition is them and us answers. They're doing it wrong. They're doing it right. They love me. They don't love me. I love them. They don't love whatever. And you're saying, so one start with if you change it, boy, and this has got to be scary as fuck for people. So is that the heaven and hell thing too, or is that evil and good? That those are just the same thing, instead of just like,
Well, yeah, I
instead of
mean,
like, hey, it's just one. And the second you have two, that's the game. The second you claim that there's good and evil, now you've decided to play the game of good and evil.
right. Yeah. And you can just say Satan made that, and you no longer have to entertain it as being a benefit to your life. The thing is, somebody comes and
Or
punches you
take
in the
any
face.
take any responsibility for it.
Right.
You're
Right,
absolving yourself
because
of responsibility because it's them.
right.
Hmm.
And the thing is that they also are finding their way, just like we are. Like, nobody's here perfect. We're all here in this game. And so they like, as we take this landscape, this perspective, this opportunity to view our opponents in this way, we basically help them find their way, and we utilize them to help us find our way as well. We're all bumping into each other. And if somebody's going a different direction than you are and they have their agenda, they have a right to that, just like you have a right to your agenda. And accepting that we're each going in our own different directions now, but in the end, we're all going to end up in the same place, allows us just to have respect for the other, including the elites, including the people that we feel are doing the most worst things that you can imagine on this planet.
What are the elites? I never understand what that is. The elites. What are those?
Yeah, I mean, so you're talking about like the Rockefeller type people that are more powerful than governments, the pharmaceutical companies that have an agenda to have a sick population. So if you
There'll
have,
always be that though, right?
as long as
There'll always be a pyramid. Always, right?
I am under the notion that we're choosing this. We're all volunteering for that to be.
Okay. Well, maybe there'll always be a pyramid, as you would, I think, as you were saying, in this plane.
As
So
we are now. But
right?
imagine tomorrow everybody wakes up and we can feel the emotions of everybody in our city. If that switch in our DNA happens,
Right.
and instead of just feeling, am I happy? Am I hungry? Am I sad? You literally feel your neighbor's emotions as like there's no separation. So it's just something like that completely changes the entire world. And now it's like, is that already happening? Because people are being born into this plane that have those sensations. And is a solar flare going to change the frequency of the earth so that that switch in our DNA all turns on? Or is it going to be a long-term thing? But something like that happens, we no longer can behave in a way that treats somebody else negatively or puts them underneath us, because we will be emotionally connected. And then the same thing eventually, if we're able to telecommunicate as a species, and whatever I know, you know, and we don't have to use language anymore. Powers like this change the way that civilization interact with each other. And right now we're in a stage. And if you look at ancient civilizations, they're tracking calendars that are hundreds of thousands of years, like the Hindus, they're hundreds of thousands of years old. The Mayans, thousands of years old. We're tracking a calendar year, one year, 365 days. Why were other civilization tracking hundreds of thousands of years? It's because there's seasons and cycles that happen within those time frames as well. But yet we're only paying attention to spring, summer, fall, and winter. We're not, that's the change in temperature. We're not really taught to pay attention to the change in consciousness that happens within this reality. But if you look into other civilizations, they were. And so you have spring, summer, winter, fall in terms of consciousness. And if you go back to the dark ages, that's like wintertime. Before that, you have advanced civilizations. That's like the spring and the summertime of Atlantis and Lemuria. And right now, it's said to be that 2012 was the start of us coming out of the wintertime of consciousness into a new age, a new era where consciously we're able to receive more information from whatever it is that's around us, whether it's a universe or some spiritual dimension. So there's and there's movies about this, right? Like there's movies about waking up from a stupor. That's what the Matrix was. You're watching TV your entire life. You're watching a Matrix. You're watching a program. And then Neo means new. The new human wakes up and realizes the program and also realizes the agenda. And that movie goes into a war because they're in a war. But we are all more aware of things than our grandparents were.
Well, there's some things that are just fucking wild here, right? So you could tell someone, hey, we can communicate without phones and send messages back and forth, and we can do all of that, right? And probably the vast majority of people would be like, no, that's bullshit. And yet we live in and yet you know how hard it is to learn to juggle 5 balls. Juggling 5 balls is a lot of work. It takes a lot of fucking awareness, focus, practice, trust. You think none of those people who think that can't happen spend even 1 second by themselves every day.
Right.
They don't spend 1 fucking second looking inward ever. Like you can see them all. You see them all around you.
Which is the equivalent of saying you can't juggle. It's the equivalent of never even holding 5 balls in your hands, let alone juggling it, is
Right,
what you're essentially saying.
So like you've done no work on yourself, and yet you have this insane strong opinion that telepathy is impossible, that communicating is and for me, I know this isn't going to hit with a lot of people, but for me, obviously, I see it happen every time throughout. I see it happen every day in my life. But also, it's the idea of the phone was created from the fact that there was already telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like no one made up that like those. I know all of these ideas of all these luxuries we have around us, these fun things we have around us, these tools came from something that we already had inside of us that we've traded now for this tool.
Right. I
Because
mean, if you go,
because I can see how creation works, and it's fascinating to me that so many people miss that. Basically, you're trading your phone for the innate ability to communicate without your phone. That's what you're doing. That's what you're trading.
it's the story that we're telling ourselves.
You see it that way too?
Telepathy.
Are you aware of that? Do you see that too?
Well, I definitely
What I'm
know.
talking about?
Yeah, I mean, you go to like people that have been living on an island for the last few thousand years, and they don't even know what technology is.
Right.
And
And let's say it's not even telepathy. You're giving up the ability to see the patterns that allow you to communicate at a super duper high level with others.
Well, I mean,
Masking adults in front of kids was a complete fucking disaster. If I'll say this right now, someone said I was going to have an unhinged rant. If you put your kid around masked adults, you completely retarded your kids. If you put your kids around masked anyone, you completely retarded your kids. You stole when they were the most powerful, when they had the most powerful perception, you took away from them the ability to fucking learn that shit. Anyway, go ahead.
the child's mind between like 2 to 3 years old to 7 or 8 years old is in a brainwave frequency called theta, and they're essentially being programmed. So it's what you're saying. Like that program is going to be very hard to undo once they get out of theta. They're going to have to learn to meditate, and get back down into theta frequency, which is essentially that state
And
of
order a Starbucks while you're in that mode. You got to go, but you got to be in a meditative state and be ordering Starbucks and looking around at people and relearning that shit. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like our subconscious or unconsciousness.
And then here's the
Theta-
crazy part. A lot of people who get these skills then start reacting to the perceptions that they're having and fuck themselves further. That you have to develop the skill and then not react to it also.
Mhm.
Right? Or else
Theta is
they're learning stuff.
essentially like the programming.
Hence
It's
meditation.
it's when we're programmed,
Mhm.
and it's our software doesn't allow us to be reprogrammed in any other frequency besides theta. So just because you learn something, like if somebody tells you the earth is flat, like right now in waking awareness, you could take that knowledge, but it's not going to change or shift your perception. But if you're in theta, that's like even like it's like a hypnotic state, and that's what TV does for people. Back to television, it brings you into that relaxed couch potato programmed state of being. That's why TV is so important. It's why it's promoted. Everybody have a TV in every single room, because
What
that's
about
the
reading? What about reading?
programming mechanism.
Does reading put you in that? Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard taught me that. Yeah, we're Raw's channeling L. Ron Hubbard right now. Sorry, I should have told. That's what I should have said. Hey, what about reading? Does reading do that to you?
It so reading.
I've read some books and all of a sudden I'm like, woo, like I start getting a little weird. Like I remember reading when I read Interview of a Vampire with Anne Rice. Do you know that series? And I was like, shit, I'm starting to see vampires everywhere. I got to put this book down.
I haven't read that.
Yeah, don't. It's not. It's fun. It was fun.
The reading, you're a little bit more active when you're reading than when you're watching TV. Because when you're TV, it's kind of like a passive input. When you're reading, you get to interpret the words into your own visuals. And when you're watching TV, you don't. That gets provided for you. So TV is just more passive than reading is. And so you still have a little bit of control over what you're reading, but you are definitely still in a state. If you're focused on the book, you're in a relaxed state. It's almost like you're having a conversation with the author.
This buddy calls me the other day and he goes, "Hey dude, I got to tell you something." I go, "Yeah, go ahead." He's not a Christian, this guy. I don't think he's a Christian. He's like, "I was in a shitty mood, man. I was so fucking pissed." I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "And you know how I'm reading the Bible?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I was 30 minutes into it and I was fucking happy as all get out." I'm like, "Listen, dude, you already got me into boxing. Don't try to convert me to become a Christian." He's like, "I'm just telling you the facts." He's like, "It's happened twice now."
The Bible is at a pretty good frequency to bring one into a state of alignment.
Do you have a book list of frequencies that bring the books that can bring
Yeah,
you into good
so
frequency? Do you really? That would be
well,
awesome.
no, I don't have a book list. I thought you were asking about what the frequencies were. Um,
Oh,
David Hawkins, like when I say the word frequency, David Hawkins uh, has the levels of consciousness, and so like at the bottom is shame, and anger is actually a couple steps up because anger promotes action, and then it's like pride, and then eventually you get to joy and love and super consciousness.
can I see that list? I want to see where I'm at. Okay.
Yeah, and this isn't something that you just sort of casually go through it.
Hold
He
on. I'm going
says
to casually go through it. Don't hate me. What's an example of shame?
isn't there like a statement on some of these?
Like when I'm masturbating and I'm concerned that someone from
And
the
you feel
NSA is
bad for your yeah,
No, I feel
shame,
bad for the person watching at the NSA because I don't
or
even
even telling somebody that they're wrong is a form of shame.
Oh, interesting. Explain that to me.
When you look at something and you say that's bad or that's wrong, that's a shameful statement. You're projecting shame
Oh my
onto
goodness.
that.
So yesterday oh my God. Yesterday, so I experienced the lowest form of consciousness yesterday. Yesterday, my kid was on, so we have this really expensive skateboard ramp, right? and each piece of this skate light costs like $600. That's just the cover for the fucking ramp. And underneath part of the one of the pieces of the skate light, it's rotted, so the skate light's bending. And my son said, I just saw this picture and got distracted. My son said, he said, "Hey, can we fix the skate ramp?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Whatever you do, don't jump on that piece that's broken." He goes, "Oh shit, I've been jumping on it." And I fucking was like, "Are you fucking crazy?" And I got so angry at him and I shamed him. He was devastated. I was devastated. I devastated both of us.
Well, you're learning.
Yeah, I shamed him.
That's an example
And no wonder, because I apologized and I didn't even kind of know what I was apologizing for, but I knew I'd done wrong. I was like, "Hey, dude, that was completely inappropriate. How I went off on you. You're a fucking 9-year-old boy. You're supposed to jump on shit. That was my bad. Just don't jump on that spot anymore." But wow. Okay, let's see the next one. That was shame. So I shamed him and I felt horrible, right? Because I lowered my consciousness.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
can I
guilt
see?
is similar.
I don't really experience guilt. Okay, here we are. Okay, shame, guilt, apathy. I don't experience apathy. I'm wound up. Grief. I don't do grief. I don't really do fear. I'm not afraid of the dark anymore, which is kind of weird. Desire. I like electronic equipment. I don't have strong desire though. Really. Pride. Yeah, I get pissed off if someone tells, like, is pride and loyalty, are those related at all? Like if anyway, courage.
I mean, pride is what fuels the army, right? They like literally use pride to encourage war.
Okay. What about courage? Like if you have courage, because I don't have any courage.
So courage is like the neutral. 200 is the gateway between the victim and abuser mindset into like it's saying right here, self-empowerment. So 200 is kind of like a neutral state, and that's according to his teachings most of
Can you give me an
humanity.
example of courage? I'm trying to cultivate some courage.
So
Like I think courage is like honest, like being honest is courage. Like if you're an honest being honest, I have to cultivate courage to be honest.
yeah. Yes. Courage can also be being afraid of something and doing it anyways. That's kind of the simple definition of courage. Doing something, like you said, saying something, um, but you need to have regulation. People get into this state. This is where like the shadow side of things like courage comes in, is when you're like, okay, well, I said that thing that I was afraid to say, and now that means that I should just say whatever's on my mind. And then they're in that state where they're like, well, it's true to me, so I'm going to say it, without any self-awareness of what you're saying's impact on other people. So each one of these, yeah. Do you have any other questions on courage? Courage is courage.
Okay, we'll come back to it. I think I do. A neutrality, willingness, acceptance. I'm getting confused. What does it mean, willingness?
It means getting up off the couch.
Oh, okay. Acceptance. Not fighting with yourself, accepting yourself.
Accepting yourself and accepting others too. Like this is kind of where a lot of our conversation has been in, is like, are you able to look at reality and accept it without fighting it, without blaming, without going into shame and guilting others?
Okay. I like that. Inner light.
So this is where very few humans go into. So we're going into like Jesus type figures when you're going above 400 and above. And I don't really have good explanations for these ones. But I just wanted to say earlier that this isn't something that somebody just hops up. This is a logarithm. This is like kind of like how the Richter scale works, which I don't really understand, but this isn't like a linear, like 203. The difference between 100 and 200
Yeah, go ahead.
isn't like double.
So
It's like 10x or
Yeah,
100x.
an earth is 6.1 and a 6.2. It's not. It's 10. It's like I think it's 10 times stronger. The earthquake or something.
Yeah, so that's how this scale's working. It's humongous jumps that in a single lifetime somebody might go 50 to 100 points according to his teachings.
So right here, look at 600 to 670. Presence and non-duality. The non-duality thing is crazy for people because first you have to have presence. So I'll give you a really simple example and see what you think of it. I could say I don't like raw, and someone might who lives in duality would think that I dislike you. Like they can't just accept the fact that I said I don't like raw and that I still haven't told you anything. So many people that presence thing I feel like is the real big delineation in humanity. Maybe you're right, maybe it's lower, but for that presence and non-duality thing, that's where I think so many fucking people are just they just lose their shit. They can't even fucking grasp it. And that right there is where it's like I think right there is where you're starting to get out of your head. You're starting to be, as the Taoists say, only a confused man makes decisions. You're getting out of the making decisions state.
Well, look at what's before
You're in
presence.
flow. Okay, go ahead. Well, oneness.
So you're no longer viewing others as others or situations as they're happening to you. You're viewing them as you.
Yeah.
And then non-duality is after presence, where you literally don't see right, wrong, up, down, good, evil. It's like same aspect or different aspects of the same thing. Like like hot and cold, for instance. Where does hot begin and cold?
Like the demarcation line.
Yeah, like there is no difference between hot and cold at a certain thing. It's just temperature. They're the same thing. They're different aspects of the same thing. And so when you get to non-duality, you realize that. But this isn't, like I said, this isn't just, you don't just get to it. This is,
but I think people experience those a lot, those things a lot. They have opportunities for those a lot. Like I don't think like you just I think that I'm guessing, I mean, I don't know this guy's work, but I'm guessing you flop around between these. Like so you'll just catch yourself in in one of these states. And then sometimes you try to go back and remember what you were thinking in those states or what you were experiencing, and you can't because you're fucking back stuck down in anger or desire.
yeah. It does seem like that to me, that we have a standard mode of operation and we're able to witness other versions of ourselves. Sometimes when we're just around other people, that's the thing with this, is you get around other people, they can influence your state of being. And that's a whole other thing, is how to become influential with your state of being amongst others. And that's about alignment. So if everything is, from a scientific standpoint, everything's vibrating electromagnetic energy, right? And there really is no such thing as solid items. It's all just energy. And so if it's all just energy, we're fields of energy, our heart is resonating a frequency, a state of being. Can we influence other people's state of beings? And how does that happen? And so the Heart Math Institute has hooked people up in apartment buildings, and they've seen that people in apartments that are close to each other are actually influencing the emotions of the people above them, underneath them, to the sides to them. And they can see that in studies. And then they ask the question, well, who's doing the most influencing? Like, which of these people? Because they couldn't say it was just the people that were the most loving that were doing the influencing, because people that are like if somebody angry walks into the room, it's almost like everybody gets overtaken by that. And what is that? How does that happen? And what they found is that they termed the phrase psychophysiological coherence. So psycho, mind, physiological, body or emotion. So it's like the people that are in the most alignment, their thoughts, actions, and emotions are in alignment. And so if you take somebody like Hitler, he was actually resonating pretty low on that scale. We're talking about like anger and pride, but he was in alignment. He acted on what he felt.
Oh,
He
damn.
said exactly what he felt. He did everything that he felt. He was in alignment, and he was able to influence massive amounts of people because of alignment. So alignment is actually what makes somebody influential. Authenticity is a very influential state of being, no matter where you are in that spectrum.
Wow. That makes amazing sense. And you can't fake that.
It comes down to your thoughts, emotions, and actions. And so, for instance, if you're going to a job that you hate every single day, you've got very low power within reality because you know that you don't, and you even feel that and feel that this isn't what would make me satisfied. So, satisfaction, joy, these are the emotions that let us know that we're in alignment. So if you're not feeling that with what you're doing 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day, then you're out of alignment and you are not resonating as a whole put together being, and you've got very little power to be influential in the field of reality and within other people. So we get to find that, like, what resonates to us in our life, and as long as everybody's on that path, like, that's essentially one of my main goals and teaching points, is to wake people up to that point, is that we're our own map. We get to use our thoughts, our emotions to align our actions to it. And as long as we're all doing that, then we're very powerful and we're all living in our dream world. We're all manifesting creations from our greatest state of
Was
being.
Hitler living in his dream world?
So Hitler was
And I don't mean
perfect.
really Hitler. I mean the imaginary Hitler that we're talking about now in the presence. I mean, like,
So
no one should take this like we're trying to write history. I'm just saying,
yeah,
based on what
I
Raw told us is in alignment. Like if there was no such thing as Hitler and you believe that and you have proof, we're not talking about that Hitler. We're just talking about the one that we're talking about right now, the fictional one that was in alignment and used that, even if it was low frequency, it was in alignment and had the outcome that he did. So no one get all
yeah,
twisted.
that's a good disclaimer because there's all sorts of
That's what I
narratives.
mean by awareness and presence and conscience and relativity and context and non-duality. So many people will just be like, anyway, go on. They get stuck in
So
their head and they can't fucking hear what we're really saying. It's that, but go on. Sorry. That
the,
won't interrupt
the
you
what
again
was
for
the
another 5
question? Was
minutes.
Hitler in alignment?
Was he in alignment? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell just by the amount of influence
He
that
was successful in his
yeah,
mission.
it's very hard to be able to influence and impact reality the way that the story of him did, um, the way that he did without being in alignment. It's the same thing when you watch, bringing up sports again. The reason why the entire audience stands up when the athlete is, on a breakaway or about to shoot that shot is because there's 100% focus and resonant alignment within the person you're watching, and the entire stadium falls into that. They literally get overtaken by that.
I want to get
And
into alignment while this microphone's in my face. I want to influence the world.
so I'd like to so even when people are meeting extraterrestrials, what they find is that the ET's frequency is so strong compared to ours. So, like, there's a guy, Daryl, who channels Bashar, who is a physical entity. But when he talks about meeting Bashar, which is an extraterrestrial who's living in a spaceship above Sedona, but he speaks about meeting
That's not
Bashar.
true, people. That's not true. Okay, go
It
ahead.
might not be. Yeah, it's just the story he's telling us. So when he meets Bashar, he sees himself through Bashar's eyes because Bashar overtakes his consciousness to a degree that he actually experiences Bashar's reality as opposed to his.
Okay.
So this is an example of how, like, if you even go into extraterrestrials, the reason why they're not coming down and just being amongst us is because it's very disruptive to our identity, because they're so much more in resonant frequency than we know how to be, that their consciousness just overtakes ours. And the people out there that have plants, and I'm just going to I go out on a limb when I hear that story, and I think to myself, okay, so then that's why my dog gets all, like when my wife and I are having an argument or something, it's like our frequency is interacting with the dog, and he starts to change his behavior because our frequency has changed. Or if anybody that takes care of plants knows that if you're happy, your plants are happy. If your boyfriend breaks up with you or something and you go 2 months being depressed, you might have not even known this, but you can think back in your memories, you'll realize that your plants are all dying if you're going 2 to 3 months being depressed. It's because your frequency is so much stronger, or it's interacting with the plants and it's causing them to die as well. This stuff is all back to, like, what do we do with it, right? The thing is that it doesn't matter if you believe it or not, because it works. And if you start to act in a greater frequency, like if you start to act within alignment, you're going to see your reality start shifting around you rather than you being the victim within your reality. But very few people are willing to do it, like you said.
That's kind of the point of this the bent and the journey I've been on, and sort of the point of this show too, and I've been sharing that with people. Like, I don't care whether you're Christian or not. I want to live in a country that has Christian values. You know why? Because it works. It's a really good it's a fucking great place when the country has Christian values. It's a great place for where I'm at, raising kids, safety on the street. You know what I mean? It's just and some people around me, but like, how can you believe those wingnuts are like? I don't care whether I believe them or not. I like their whole. I like their value system. I like their inalienable rights. I like all the stories of Jesus. Like, I like their shit. Like, I don't care
Mhm.
whether it's real or not. I'm not worried about that. I've transcended that. I'm trying to do what works. I want to go back to this thing. And I like all my friends who are Christian are cool as shit. I'm on the same frequency as them. I'm with them. I have a acquaintance who presents very humble, but he's very arrogant on the inside. And it's fascinating to me, the pain, right? Because they're presenting the way they think the world, and I'm not by any chance saying that they should get rid of their arrogance. I think it's quite the opposite. They should let their arrogance out. But it's such a retarded, I don't mean it in the clinical sense. I mean it like in the bent sense. It's such a skewed humility. Like, and I see people fall for it all the time. I fell for it. But there's zero humility there. It's a pure, massive, obsessive ego inside. And I just want to be like, dude, just let it out. It's cool. Rock it.
Mhm.
Rock that shit. Just rock, like, it's fine. But the thing is people are trying to think that they're trying to get somewhere. I guess that's the whole thing with social media. I guess inherently it just takes people out of alignment because they're chasing what they think others want instead of what their alignment is.
Some people do. Yeah, it's
I think the vast
easy.
majority, like, they just
I think that even myself, and I'm sure somebody on your team is paying attention to the algorithm, there's the algorithm that has to be played into, and it's not somebody else, right? But I definitely do change the first few words of a video to play the game with social media.
Oh, that's different. I'm talking about just claiming you're vegan, but you're not vegan. Or like there's all these women out there, whether they know it or not, are presenting themselves as fucking cum dumpsters. They're everywhere. They're presenting themselves. Maybe they don't know how men perceive them, but they just present themselves as something to just drop a load in. They're everywhere. And you can be like, well, Sevan, you're just projecting on them. No, I'm explaining. It's just the biological fact. I don't even follow them. I don't look at them like that. I'm not interested. Like, I'm fucking happily married, but I'm telling you, that's how I remember what it's like to be 18. And like, but they're not cum dumpsters. And if you say that to them, they get offended. Like they're like so fast because they're getting this. What they're getting is they're getting a shitload of followers, but zero happiness. They're not in alignment. And you can see it when they finally present. Like if they go on a podcast or they do something, you'll be like, ooh, your shit's all fucked up. You know what I mean? They're not in alignment. They're presenting to the world to get to. I'm not talking about like changing the writing or publishing at 3 p.m. or I'm not talking about playing that game. I'm talking about a whole suppression or suppression of who you are or misrepresentation of who you are. Like those chicks who really are fucking cum dumpsters and present that way, those are the ones that have 12 million followers. Like they're fucking, their shit's in alignment. Like you see them and you're like, fuck. I'm just talking about like just your average fucking chick who has the million followers and is just presenting like a cum dumpster. I mean, like taking a picture, looking over your ass if you're a girl, like I mean, no, I'm just showing you how I work out and my muscles. No, you're not. And so their shit's not in alignment. And I see it and they're not happy, right? They're just not happy. They're not partying. They're not like, you just see it. And I think that's the vast majority. And it's interesting. I got to that point just now through your explanation that is. And so I'll even jump to this arrogant conclusion, which I'm more than happy to be arrogant. That's why the 27,000 subscribers of this channel are so much more influential than the 500,000 subscribers someone else might have. Because this channel and the people in it are fucking aligned. More so than others. Like, and that takes us back to the beginning of what you're saying. If each one of these people is a cell, our cells are working more in conjunction with one another.
Right. Because as a culture, like there's a culture that's being set here
with values.
Right.
We don't want our kids diddled. Like that's one of the things like we have in common, this group. We're pretty like protective of our kids. But then that gets us back into the them-they thing again. I don't want to hate the diddlers.
But
you
can act in
different for them to go to a different dimension.
I mean, this is the environment that we get to manage here, and apparently this is why we're all here. There's a line to get onto Earth, and we were the lucky ones that came here during this time to experience the dynamicness of this reality. Because once we don't have a body, this is like my hair. Like once the hair grows, I'm probably not going to have it again. Same thing with this life. So even though there's all of these challenges here, this is the game that we're playing. We get to play it. We're blessed to play it. And remembering that throughout the process allows us to have appreciation for the villains within this game, the villain characters, I should say. And that also puts you in more power when you can respect, even admire your opposites.
Going to the desire thing too, you might not realize you might be like, no, I don't have desire, but we all realize it, or a lot of us have the opportunity to realize it when you leave the house and you're 6 blocks away from your house and you realize you didn't have your cell phone with you. And you have to make that decision. Am I turning around to go get it, or am I going to sit with that desire? And I recommend to all of you to take that opportunity to sit with your desire. It's a new feeling, and then you can sort of see where you are on that plane. Ronnie, what do you think about the people? What do you think? Like, imagine that pyramid and all those levels that we were talking about. So there's people on the planet now who have they can have any object they want, right? They can have the new Tesla. They can buy a flamethrower. They can build the biggest house. They can build a suit and go into a volcano and come out. They can go down and see the Titanic. They can just do whatever, right? They've kind of conquered, relative to where we are with technology, the physical realm. Is that when they start wanting to control other people? Is like within that subset of unconsciousness, are there or within that superficiality, are there levels of what people want to? Like the desire starts with like, hey, I'm going to be able to walk upright, and then next thing you know, you want to fucking be president of the United States.
I think that we can develop ourselves, let's say financially, to a great degree, and we can win that game. And if we're not also developing ourselves like a video game character with all the different traits, if we're also not developing ourselves in a balanced manner, then that's where things can start getting weird, right? Where you have so much money, but you are emotionally broken. So you have like wild sex parties and dominate people in other ways. Like that's I think what you're saying, that's where needing to have power and control over people, because that aspect of their self wasn't necessarily developed. But yet if somebody was raised in your family and did jujitsu their entire life and was taught things like martial arts and sports, you realize your power over others is a great power and you respect it. And maybe you're not financially well off, but you have that aspect of yourself taken care of. You can see the different levels of awareness within your own life and within other people. Like for instance, and then you also can respect the process. Like I used to get into fights like I was a massive fighter. I fought every single weekend when I played hockey. And I would go out with my friends, people would wanna fight me because they know I would fight back, and then I got into CrossFit, and CrossFit for me was all about beating other people, and, it was very much on that that edge of reality, and I did that for my entire life. I played hockey from 3 to 23, and then I got right into CrossFit, and I was basically a professional CrossFit athlete for till I was like 35, 36. And now the last 8 years, I've experienced that enough. And I understand what it's like. It would be very difficult to get me into a fight or an argument or something that I would be so quick to get into when I was developing my capacity to have power over others. I was willing to exercise that, but now it's kind of played out. I no longer need to prove to myself that I'm more powerful than others. I'm okay walking into the room not having the biggest shoulders and the biggest legs there. It no longer serves me. It's kind of like um, being a toddler or being in grade school. When you're in grade school, all of those lessons are important to you. But as an adult, you no longer have a need to go back to that state. You kinda have that within you. And so as a lifetime athlete of more than 30 years of competing, I no longer feel gratification or even alignment with expressing that version of myself, because now it's more, uh experiential. It resonates more with me to develop other capacities of self.
Where is this? What is this comment here? I don't even understand this comment. I have my son Purium, and now he has no shame. Purium?
Purium.
What's that?
Purium. It's
What is that? It's an
it's
STD?
it's it's the company that I'm partnered with it's my nutritional
Oh.
superfoods.
He's
He's
busting on you.
kind of making fun, yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That means he likes you. That's how that guy That guy made fun of me before I slept with him. Oh, I gave my son. Oh. Ken Walters, dude's a hockey guy, whole other level of respect. Used to love the fights, but now not so much. Was that hard to give up? Did you consciously have to work on that, or it just fizzled out?
I mean, the whole time I was doing CrossFit, I was going through it because I was injured I've got injuries from hockey and from just overuse. I came into CrossFit broken. I had a chiropractor injury, and so I had a dead nerve that goes down my left arm. So I basically don't have full usage of my left arm. I also have a dead nerve in my right quadricep. And so when I was competing in CrossFit, I was doing barely any training. And so that's why you would see me slacklining or riding a unicycle or rock climbing. I was active to a degree, but I wasn't doing thrusters and pull-ups all year long. And so I had a identity crisis in terms of like my muscles going away, not working out, not doing CrossFit, but amazingly I was still winning CrossFit competitions and qualifying for regionals every single year. So it was a long journey. It was a 10-year process of sort of like going from super athlete mindset to one time I was in a conversation. Well, actually, there was a switch, and I was in a conversation with one of my good friends, and he said, "Do you know who you are besides an athlete?" And that like smacked me. It like literally smacked me in my face. Like I ran into a brick wall. And I think I was like 35, 36-ish. And it was like, whoa, I actually don't. I don't know who I am besides an athlete. Like, who am I without these muscles? Who am I without this fitness, this capacity? And that was, if I were to point at like one of the things that really made me question athleticism. And I know your audience is huge into it, but is it the foundation of life? And that allowed me to just ask that question and also ask what else is there? And I was also discovering that there had to be something else because I wasn't training, and yet I could qualify for regionals, top 1% of 1% of 1% of 1% of people, but I haven't picked up a barbell in the last 10 months. How is that possible? I thought that diet and exercise were the foundation of fitness. Is there a way, and fitness from the CrossFit standpoint is measuring power. Is there a way that I was accessing power besides training in my CrossFit gym? Because I wasn't training in my CrossFit gym. Where was the power coming from? And that's when I started realizing that there's tremendous power in sunlight, earthing, the way that air comes into our body and how we utilize it, and what the function of water is in our body. And I was accidentally utilizing that stuff because instead of training in my CrossFit gym that I owned several, I would go hang out in the beach. I was in the elements all day long. I would be training full-time athletes. And when open season came around, I hadn't picked up a barbell because I wasn't planning on even doing the open. And the first workout would get launched and I would do it in a 15-minute break in between coaching my classes with zero warm up. And I would beat the guys sometimes that actually did the demonstration of the open workout, like professional athletes. I would beat the people that I was training, my full-time athletes. I would beat them. And it didn't make any sense to me. And so when that question came up, like, is there something else besides being an athlete, besides living my life in a gym that could potentially access myself more power than being physically strong? Is there something else that allows me to be more powerful without just working on physical strength? And I found a lot of enjoyment looking into other themes. And that's where things like other dimensions, are there extraterrestrials? How is this reality structured? Light, earth, air, water, how does that actually interact with the body? This is before like earthing everybody knew about. Like nobody was talking about earthing then. I mean, there were a little subset. Nobody was talking about
That's when you
sunlight.
went up north and buried yourself in that hole with that old guy? That old guy buried you in a hole? Is that what
No, he
earthing is?
didn't. That's you're talking about Mick Dodge?
Oh, yeah, maybe.
No, but he didn't bury me, but that was a breath work. Like what was breath work? Like
Didn't you
nobody
go in
was
the ground there? Is earthing going in the ground?
earthing just means touching the earth.
Oh.
I give presentations on this and I say, everybody raise your hand. So I usually give presentations on Saturday or Sunday. I'm giving one in Burbank next week. And so I'll give a presentation on Saturday or Sunday and I'll say, raise your hand if you've been outside more than 5 hours this week. And less than half of the people there say they raise their hand. And I'm not even saying barefoot. There you go. Yeah, me too.
I can't even believe people wear shoes when they don't have to.
So we're talking people are not even going outside more than an hour a day, let alone being barefoot, let alone letting the sun be on their solar cells, which is their skin. But there's a lot of power in the elements. So you want to hear something interesting?
Yeah, I want to hear something interesting, but I want to come back to the working out thing, and I want to push back on you on that because
Yes, please do.
you had 30 years working out experience. You ate healthy. You hung around other strong people, and you were proficient in all the movements. But I'll come back to that. Tell me, I don't want you to lose your thoughts. So tell me something interesting if you still remember.
No, push back.
Okay, why couldn't it have just been like, hey man, that's how fit I was, and that's how shitty the competition was. Like you were young. You were determined. There's no doubt you have determination. You were young and you were determined and you had an amazing base.
So that's where the
And so I think
question
taking a
is.
year off, and you were still active. It's not like you were sitting around with your thumb in your ass eating Cheetos.
Yeah.
So, I just don't think that like any Tom, Dick, or Harry could just go out there and will themselves. Like I don't believe in like stranger in a strange land, but I want to.
Yeah.
But I want
You
to.
love that book. I know you love that book.
I want to believe. I want to believe it, but
So yes, I struggled with it as well.
I think you cultivated the strength, which gave you the mindset, or you cultivated the mindset which gave you the strength. But to just say that some Tom, Dick, or Harry could just be like,
But I didn't say that.
okay, sorry, okay.
I definitely didn't say that. It's the juggling thing. So yes, I was highly skilled at physical fitness. I was a lifetime athlete. So
Great
there
body
was-
awareness, cultivated crazy
Yeah.
body awareness. Yeah.
But I had somebody like Ryan Fisher training in my gym. He was a coach of mine, and he would accuse me. So just so you know, it just wasn't me. It wasn't just me making these questions about like how is this possible. Like Ryan Fisher used to drive by my gym at 12 or 1 p.m. and he would tell my other athletes like, Ronnie's working out at midnight. I know he is. Like I drive by the gym and the lights are on, but it would be my cleaners were in there. So he didn't know that I had cleaners 3 times a week come to the gym and they would clean at midnight essentially. He didn't know that, but he was even trying to figure out like how is it that I could do so well without training at all. So it wasn't just me, and even for myself, I had to continuously like be like, how is this possible? And that's what prompted me. I'm just sharing that there was a question in my mind that was like statistically significant enough that there's something else that's giving me access to power that I didn't understand. Like, how was it possible? And what I found is that there's a lot of power, and you said determination. There is a lot of power in intention. I started noticing that with diet. I could tell my clients to eat vegan or carnivore or high carb or low carb, And it seemed like everyone was getting the same results no matter what diet I would give them, because I would tell them, this is going to make you healthy. And then they would get healthier. And so I was starting to see there's a grayness in the lines that are drawn between how I thought reality operated with a cause and effect mentality. That's Western science. It's mechanistic. They're just trying to find a cause and effect, and they're trying to find the cause within this physical reality with our physical machines. Is there a cause before the cause? And is that cause before the cause measurable, or is there something else that we're not looking at? And that's what I started finding: earthing, being in sun, and these things are all breath work. In every single city across the entire world, you can now find a breathwork coach. So the way that we utilize oxygen is completely different than how everyone thinks in the gym. Everyone thinks the more you breathe, the better. Get in as much air as possible. They're breathing through their mouth. I didn't. And I was just accidentally not breathing through my mouth because I'm a psychology student. I have a degree in psychology. And for me, I was just trying to breathe through my nose in a workout as long as possible because I knew that I didn't want an adrenaline dump. And breathing through your mouth puts you in a sympathetic state of nervous system where you're in a flight or fight. And so there was things that I was non-consciously doing that was helping me within CrossFit. One of those things is being outside on the earth in the light, but it's also how we use air and how water interacts in our body. So yes, I am athletically talented and skillful, but there's other stuff that allowed me to access power. And now here's the question I started asking myself: okay, I can win CrossFit competitions. I'm talking about local competitions I was winning. I wasn't winning the games or anything because I didn't identify as a games athlete. I identified as a regional athlete. So I was getting to regionals every year without really training that seriously for it. I would train basically from when the open started to the end of regionals. That was my train. That was when I would pick up a barbell and kind of do CrossFit movements. If I'm able to do so well in this sport where people are training all day long, but I'm doing something else, I'm accessing more power, is it possible for me to extend this power into other aspects of reality? Can I close my businesses and still live a luxurious life? Can I live at houses at the top of the Hollywood Hills without bringing in money? Can I date whoever I desired without grooming myself? That's where the hair growing and the face growing started. Can I still eat at Air One, which is like the most expensive grocery store in the world, 3 times a day without money? Can I move out of my house because I can't afford it anymore and still manifest a house when I need to sleep at night? Is that possible? I started asking myself these questions and I went on that journey and started realizing that, yeah, I can do much more than be good at CrossFit. I can do all of these other things because there's something that's allowing me to create reality. And that's kind of the game that I'm playing within right now.
You think you'll always play? That's it. That's now it.
No, I won't always play it. Like I'm figuring out like there's things that are more important. Like so back down to earth, finances, right? So I guess I am not playing that game so much now. I did for a few years after I closed my gyms, but now I'm a productive member of society. I do pay attention to money, and so now I'm back in the earth realm doing things as it's programmed to be done. But I have awareness of all these other capacities as well.
I can't tell if this is a joke. Wow, something very strange just happened, blowing my mind. My next door neighbor offered me food and I'm starving. We never see or talk.
Well, that's like the last time I was talking about this, somebody sent you a message that said, I didn't believe anything he was saying, and I was going to go buy a boat. And I thought to myself, it would be just great if somebody gave me the boat and I
Oh,
didn't
I
have to
remember.
buy it.
Someone told that story, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
They sent you a text and they said that they showed up and the lady was like, you know what? I don't even need you to buy it. I just want it off my property. You can just have it. And so like when somebody talks about manifesting or creating reality and you're like, no, it doesn't happen that way. That's actually you manifesting it not happening that way. So it's almost like you can the prerequisite to be able to create reality is to know that you can do it. If you look at everything like you're the victim and that you have no creational control over it, then you're not going to be able to manipulate reality at all. And it starts with the negative aspects of our life. If we hate our life, we have to take responsibility for creating it. All of it. If you're in an abusive relationship, how did you ask for it? How did you create it? Because the only way for you to get out of that abusive relationship and into a better, more resonant relationship for you is for you to accept responsibility and control and choice over the current relationship that you're in or the current situation of anything that you're in. Even things like got into a car accident and broke your back. How is that serving your intention? We're blessed to find the answers to these questions so that we can then create a fulfilling life with the broken back. If we don't have acceptance that we chose it, then we're just going to suffer for the rest of our life.
You froze. I mean, we can hear you, but you froze, or you're staying perfectly still. Can you hear me?
I think that maybe oh wait, hold on. I'll change my camera.
Do I ever?
Uh
Oh, there we go.
no, it was the phone that I was using as the video thing died.
Oh. Oh, why were
Do
you
you
using the phone as the video?
Because it's easier than using my good camera and
Wait,
it
now
just
which camera's being used?
the computer camera.
Oh yeah, looks. I can't even tell the difference. It still looks good. Oh, did you have it on? Can you put it on portrait mode when you're on your camera on your phone?
No, I just was.
But you were on your computer, but using your camera's phone.
Yeah, anyone can do this. So I have this little arm,
Mm-hmm.
and it was holding my phone. I didn't have it plugged in. It was holding my phone this way. So now I'm using these cameras to videotape myself, as opposed to using like my Canon R5 big
Right.
camera that like every setting needs to be completely perfect.
Hey, how is that? Was that phone hooked up to your computer?
No, it's just Bluetooth. So right now, if you put I forget what it's called.
Yeah, I've seen things where devices like little arms that you put on top of your screen so that you can use your phone. I just never knew how to do it. So you hook it up to your computer Bluetooth, and then it becomes one of the options for the camera.
Yeah, if just put
Okay.
your phone on Bluetooth and your computer on Bluetooth, and if you go to settings, it might have your phone as an option. It might say like Sevan iPhone 15 or 14, whatever it is. I don't know. For me, it just started happening automatically. I didn't do anything to make it happen.
You just brought the two together, and they knew that they should work together.
Yeah.
Apple. That should be a slogan for Apple. He gets so ticky. Who's getting ticky? Me or Raw?
Maybe
So
me.
so frustrated with Sevi. He's not frustrated with me. We're chilling. You're not frustrated.
Maybe I look around and I do have a lot of like I played hockey, so there's a lot of jostling that happened in my brain. And so for me to search for things when I speak, I really have to dig into my psyche to find the words because it's a challenge for me to come up with the words that I need to structure sentences together. So I really do look around a lot because it's hard for me to even know what the sentence I'm saying is. It's difficult.
You don't come off like that, but I like looking when I talk too. Like, you know what I mean? Like I enjoy when I'm thinking sometimes like it's a nice feeling. It's like
It feels like I can explore into my mind a little bit more. But I've had to work on that because people used to tell me I don't look at people in the eyes when I speak.
Oh, well, you've been looking into my eyes the whole time. I wonder if this is bad for my frequency.
I mean, that's all humanity right there. That's a hyper.
I don't even see that
visual-
as I don't even see that as sexual.
I was. It's the phallic, the
It's more,
phallus.
yeah, yeah.
It's like a symbol of your masculine strength, your ability to penetrate reality, which is exactly what we're talking about.
I like that sensation. Do you ever get like you wake up and you have a morning wood and like you can just take the palm of your hand and kind of push down on it and you can get like a little crack, like a little pop, like at the top of the pubic bone, like it's like cracking your knuckles. Like you ever get that? You know what I'm talking about?
No, that would be if I could.
It's like I just go like this and I just kind of push on it a little bit, like get a little tricep extension on it, just like to push it away. I don't know. It just makes me feel so masculine. Like it doesn't even belong to me. Like I'm pushing it away, but yeah, like I know it does. You know what I mean?
I know. I've
You know what
got
I
to.
mean? It's like when I was a kid, I used to hang a towel from it. You know what I mean? Like I'd just hang a towel from it. I don't do that really anymore. I don't have time to do those things anymore. My boys do that stuff. It's so fun watching them do that stuff. Like they just be watching TV and pushing their penis in and letting it pop out, pushing it in. But I remember like, oh yeah, I used to do all that shit. Hang towels from it. It's like fucking, it's great. Now I just wrestle with it. I had my birthday a couple days ago. I turned 52.
And no,
I was gonna
reflections?
tell you what my wife got me, but I just not going to. It was in
Something
the
sexual.
it was in the thing. I don't know if it's sexual. I don't know if it's sexual. I don't even know. It's all blur. It's all one to me. It's all. Hey, this thing where we were all in line to come here. Is there truth to that, or is that just kind of romanticize our journey to add to our appreciation of it?
Are you at? So this is what the phone looks like. It says connect
Oh
to
yeah, mine
MacBook
doesn't.
Pro. It just like automatically says that. And so now when it says that, it'll have it should, yeah, it pops up in the settings
Oh yeah,
in
that's cool.
the where are we at? StreamYard.
Yeah.
And so the thing is I'm turning my phone, you can't see it. I'm turning my phone on an angle and it keeps it like it keeps it stable. So
Could you push the cinematic settings so it made you so you had a
I think so, but I haven't figured out how to do
bouquet?
that.
So yeah, so like bouquets, you know what I mean? So it like
Yeah,
blurs
so
out
it
the back.
blurs the back.
Yeah, just slightly, ever so slightly.
No, I've tried doing that because I think it would be better, but I don't know how to do it. I wonder if I could do that in OBS. I'm pretty sure I could probably do that in
Yeah,
OBS, which I
you can do
also
it in
have.
StreamYard too. It doesn't look good. I
Mm.
don't think so. Virtual
But the
backgrounds, let me see. Like a blur. I can oh, I think I just tried it. Did it blur me? Let me see. Brick wall. Oh, none. Oh wait, no, let me see brick wall. Do stuff like that or like that. See that's the blurred. Can you guys see that? Looks stupid.
yeah, it does look it needs to be like 10% of that blur.
I'm learning how to play the piano. No. Oh, holy shit, you wouldn't believe the accident scene I'm at. We're live. The accident scene. So what do you think? Is that just romantic? Is that just to when you say, hey, we're in line to play on Earth? Is that true, or is that just a
So you mean that
narrative?
like is everything happening perfectly as it should be happening?
No, at one point you said, "Hey, we're blessed to be here." There was a line of people wanting to come to Earth, and our number got
Ah,
chosen, or we happen to be here. But like when I hear stories like that, like I want to believe that. I like that. Don't no, when you see this, that means they're done with the show. He's saying it's time to go.
the 1999?
Yeah, I don't know why, but for some reason that's code for like end the show.
Like we've jumped the shark?
So I don't know. I'm just finally calming down. I'm finally
Well, they
settling.
should donate that amount as a vote
Oh, they
on
already
this
made
show.
me. They already made me rich. They've donated millions. That's just a narrative just to romanticize it, so like to add up value, right? But it's not really true.
Well, so it's up to us to integrate it, right? So it goes back to what you were saying earlier. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. Like trying to ask the question and spend your energy ascertaining whether something is true or not is is not the point. Like you can read that book, Stranger in a Strange Land. That's apparently a fiction book, but there's a lot of lessons there that you can integrate or even you can reject, like you
Hmm.
said.
Hmm.
And it's up to us to take the story of a bunch of souls waiting and like hoping to come onto earth, and we made it and now we're here. You can take that story. It doesn't matter if it's true or not, but you can still integrate what it means to you.
Hmm.
And you could take the story of evolution as well, or the theory of evolution, and do the same thing. This is all just a random, this all just randomly happened through chance, and we're the only living civilization in this entire universe. And you can also integrate a perspective from that as well. But to only take what you think, the one and only truth that there is, and just shut off everything else and not participate or encourage that perspective to have any sort of influence in your life, that to me seems very dull and bland. Um, and like we're already watching movies and TVs and listening to other people's perspectives. And so for letting shows and movies influence us, which we absolutely know is made up, if we get excited when we watch a movie, then shutting off the notion of flat earth or evolution or do the dinosaurs exist? Like it's why not participate and just see what's there? See how it makes you feel.
That shit really fucking offends people. Like when you first came on, there were some people that were already like just immediately offended by you. Or like when I had a flat earther on, you should have seen like half the audience was like fucking losing their shit. I'm like, why are you
Yeah,
losing why are you losing your shit? This guy thinks the earth is flat. Shouldn't you, maybe you should be worried about him. Like
you're right.
he might have some serious issues. Or he might be right, but fuck, he might be really fucked up. Don't worry, don't panic.
Right.
He needs to be
It's
panicking. He thinks there's a great wall with all the resources being held on the other side.
I mean, if you actually think about what we base most of our truth on, it's the gravitational model of the universe, which was discovered hundreds of years ago before we even had the awareness of electricity. So most everything is based on there's a universe that was in one point and it exploded, and then gravity combined galaxies, which then combine stars, which then combine planets, and we're on one of these things. This was before we even
Theoretically speaking.
yeah, this is before we even knew what electricity was.
This is before God was invented.
No, God was a thing.
Oh.
Like before God was invented, there was many gods. Like they did uh like many of the older religions, it wasn't monotheistic, which is one God. It was polytheistic. There was the spirits were responsible for death and war and love. There was a different God that had a domain over our existence. That was before science. And then science came along and said, like, no, we can do experiments and determine the cause for all of these things. And that's what we're rolling with now as truth. But there's a lot of things that we can't explain. A lot. Like if you go into the Amazon rainforest and find these tribes and you're like, hey, how did you know to combine this root with this leaf in the exact proportions that wouldn't be poisonous, but yet it's medicinal? And how did you know that it would help somebody with this illness? And they'll just tell you, the trees told us. that's what they'll say. We asked the earth, and the personality of earth, which they call Gaia, Gaia told us. But we can't accept that as scientists in the West. We need an experiment to prove things. And Western science is validating a lot of these other cultures' practices. Like Ayurveda is basically like genetic testing. It's like people have different predispositions for certain foods. And then we've got acupuncture, and the meridians of the body is superficially being validated by Western science in such a laughable manner. It's like Western science is now just basically admitting certain things. We don't realize that science has never had it figured out. Never. It's always been behind, and it's always changing. It's always disproving itself. And so also the problem, science as a theory is sound, right? There's an experiment and there's a hypothesis experiment. Like the scientific method is pretty sound.
Well, they're doing science too. If you say, hey, the earth told me to rub this leaf on my poison oak and it will be cured, and 99 out of 100 times you do it, it works, you have a super duper high predictive value, and now you've done science.
Right.
That's science. The method that you get there doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's the predictive value. I learned that from Greg recently.
But they're
super high predictive value.
You assumed that they got to that predictive value by 99 out of 100 experiments, but I wouldn't say that that's where they're
okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
They just took it and did it, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you get people that said like there's a structure in Joshua Tree called the integratron, and this guy, James, I don't think it's James, it's Van Tassel is his last name though. He, I want to say James Van Tassel. He built something called the integratron, and he essentially said he walked outside one day and there was a ET that gave him instructions to build a time machine.
That's in Joshua Tree. Does he own the land that's on?
Well, that is now, he died before it was finished.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was building a time machine that an alien gave him instructions to, but because there's perfect harmonics within it, they now use it for sound baths. That's essentially the usage now. If you go to Hitler in Germany and you look up, were Germans building time machines, you're going to see something that they're building called the Bellcraft, and it looks like the exact same shape as that. And there's basically like a structure that is in Germany that looks like it would fit that thing, but the thing that's within it is gone, and that was left after the war. And so there's all these theories that maybe the Germans were in a race, like the war wasn't really about what we think it was about, but it was, all wars are really about extraterrestrial technology, and it's not about power and oil and land and people. It's about extraterrestrial technology, and that's what wars are about.
I built one of these on my property, an Integratron. I don't know what for, but
so the thing is that
cool. Round buildings are cool.
Yeah, I mean teepees. You go into the old world. That's
my wife's always wanted to live in a yurt.
She does.
She always wants to. Yeah, she would. If I hadn't stopped her. Then again, my kids would be vaccinated if I wish she would have listened to me too. Thank God.
There's a yurt for sale on Facebook Marketplace. Let me see if I can send it to you.
No. No. Please don't. Universe, stop him.
All right, I won't. Oh, wow. 10 years ago, I posted a picture on Facebook that this exact shirt I'm wearing right now. I wore my CrossFit Mean Streets shirt. You see there's a smiley face, CrossFit Mean Streets. I printed it.
Is that inside out now? You put it on inside out?
Well, I printed it this way. I printed it mirrored so that it's meant to be worn inside out.
Oh, yeah. So when you look in the mirror, it's right.
No, when you look at me in normal reality, it's right. So it's printed the wrong way. So when you turn it inside out, the people looking at you can read it.
Oh,
It's
but you never
printed
wear
in
it inside out.
Oh, wait, no. Is that right? Because
Can you stand up for a second? I want let me see this shirt. Can you move back?
maybe it's not mirrored. Is that the correct way or not?
I can't. Well, the camera is. It's not the correct way.
No, so this
If you look in the mirror, can you read that?
Oh, no. You're right. This must not be the shirt that I printed in a mirror fashion. But I started printing them to wear inside out because I think I was wearing my shirts inside out. And then I was like, I'm going to print it so you can actually see it.
My shit's
But anyways,
my shit's not
10
backwards.
No, it's not. It's also black, so you're not going to be able to read through it if you wear it inside out.
Mm.
But 10 years ago on Facebook, I just printed this shirt and it just came up when I pulled up Facebook, and I haven't worn this shirt in forever. So is that alignment, or I don't know what it is?
Did you wear it just for the
Synchronicity,
show? Since you know
coincidence?
there's a lot of CrossFitters on the show.
Yeah.
That's
Even though you
cool.
can't really see it, but yeah.
Yeah, just getting. Why haven't you thrown that shirt away? It's just like you like it. It's soft. It fits you well. Memories.
I kept all my CrossFit shirts just for memories. Yeah.
Holy shit! Do you have just way too many shirts?
I have way too many shirts. Yeah.
Does your wife
I
ever
could-
tell you to get rid of them?
No, because we've got a house that's has enough closet space and stuff for everything.
Once a month, I'm told, "Hey, dude, you got to get rid of some shit."
But I also own the CrossFit gyms. I'm not keeping necessarily all the other CrossFit shirts that people gave me,
Right.
but my own
Kenny
shirts
Leverage
from
gym. It's from Kenny Leverage gym. It's going in the trash. Poor Kenny.
Kenny.
Hey, thanks for coming on. It's good catching up with you. I felt my
Thanks.
frequencies change throughout the show.
Thanks for having me.
Are you ever up this way? Did you get the bat car again?
No, I just reposted that video.
Oh, okay. So you're driving an electric car now. You have a Tesla.
Yeah, but we're not sure about if we're gonna keep on driving them. Yeah, we've got a Plaid and a Y Performance, but both Teslas. But yeah, we're unsure about the EMF. On them.
Shit! I never even thought of that. Wow.
Yeah, that's always been in the back of my mind, but I don't feel that bad in them. But I feel bad if I'm holding my phone. If I have Bluetooth headphones on, I can feel the EMF, but not so much in the car. So, but that's our main concern, and we might get rid of them.
Raw has a YouTube channel. It is called. Oh, you can just put in Raw of Earth.
Yeah. Raw of Earth.
And if you're not afraid of exploring ideas, thoughts.
Most of my happenings is on Instagram, raw_of_earth.
Do you channel anybody?
I have channeled twice in my life, but not verbally. I just got in front of my computer and closed my eyes and put my hands on the keyboard and just typed whatever came to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what came to me was the start of a book, and it was about light and whatever. It could have just been my higher self or deep into my mind. I don't know what it was. I didn't ask because I didn't really have any participational control of it. I just typed what was coming to me, and it explained light as being the combination of love and might. So light is the might of love. And it also explained a little bit about what we were talking about earlier, what the soul is. And what came to me was an image of, so it said soul is soft oil. And at that point I was like, dude, it is whatever, am I just making this up? Because light is love and might, and then soul is soft oil. Like, is it just making up like how the words sound? But then I got an image of all of the souls being like soft oil. They're very viscous, very pliable and soft. But there would be hard. There's like a machine of, like, if you imagine like a beehive, all of these capsules of souls of they're all soft oil that was sort of moving around, but every once in a while there'd be a really dense, hard soul. And that dense, hard soul, that little capsule, would be like an evil person in our reality, someone that we would claim as evil, label as evil. And what that evil capsule would do, that really dense capsule, it would force all of the other soft oil, the souls around it, to get even softer, to get even more pliable. And it would sort of work on that harder entity to the point where they would all merge into the same viscosity. And it was like this weird movie I was watching that was explaining the reason why we have villains in our realities, because it helps all of the people that are being impacted from that person's action. It helps them find their way a little bit more. So that's most of the
That's your
stuff I
channeling
channel.
experience.
Yeah.
One time I was living in my motorhome, and I was really sick. I had a really high fever, and a friend of mine, these two girls I know, came over to visit me, and I started channeling Abraham Lincoln. But I mean, I completely made it up, but I did it.
Uh-huh.
But I kept it going for like over an hour. It was great. I mean, I think I convinced myself I really was Abraham Lincoln for a little while.
And maybe
I think I was just.
you were.
I think I was just. Yeah, but who knows? It was really fun. I enjoyed it. I should try it again. I wonder if my wife my wife was one of those girls. I wonder if she remembers that.
Bring that up.
I will. All right, dude. Thanks for coming on. You're great. I got to have you on more often. Sorry about the delay. It's all the CrossFit shit I dabble in that causes the delay for the good shit to come surface to the top.
All good. All good. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. If you're ever in the area, please come by my house. I love seeing
I
you.
will.
The boys
Yeah.
miss you. All right.
Up north. We'll
Yes,
do
sir.
it.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye. Raw of Earth. Ladies and gentlemen. Hi, Caleb.
Hi.
Man, the crowd got hostile. Jesus
Doesn't that
Christ.
always happen when something like this somebody like this comes on?
I guess, kind of. It always just kind of shocks me.
I went down a rabbit hole of Bashar channeling.
Oh, yeah?
Started watching a bunch of his stuff while he was talking, yeah.
I've read a bunch of books on, like, I'll ask my wife right now, too. Channelers, like everything you ask for, you get. Like back in the day, I'm trying to think of like who that was. Why the fuck isn't my phone working? The phones are acting weird here today. No text messages are even coming in on my computer. It's weird. Hello? Haley? Hello?
You may hang up.
Oh. I want to ask her if she was one of the chicks that was there when I was channeling Abraham Lincoln. Why the fuck would you marry a guy 805?
Anyway, I was going through this guy's page, Bashar.
Yeah.
I guess he was on the podcast with Danica Patrick.
Oh yeah, I saw that picture you pulled up.
Yeah, and they were like talking about if we're ever going to be,
if we're ever going to be what?
Aliens are going to come to Earth.
Oh.
Hello, you reached Haley.
And what he say? And what he say?
He said that they won't come down to talk to us because it'll interfere with our like state of being or something.
Oh yeah, I
But-
think Ronnie or Raw was trying to explain that.
Yeah. And then, but he's like, but they are coming down to talk to us because that's who I'm channeling. Like they'll talk through me.
Oh.
I don't know. It's interesting.
The UFO guy thought that the UFOs were really like angels, right? Too. Like
Yeah,
there was
right.
like it's all just yeah. Do we have a guest on tomorrow? Oh no, tomorrow I don't have a show. So you know what I'm doing tomorrow morning?
Mm.
God, why aren't the text messages working on my computer? Oh, I changed my password. Do you think that's what's happened?
Oh yeah, probably.
Oh shit. Sign in security. Tomorrow morning, Tuesdays, Sousa's doing a show now, and so tomorrow morning I'm gonna get up super early in the morning and drive my van down to the dealership. They open at 7 because I have that lights on, the money making light. When it comes on, you take it down there and they turn it off, and they take your money.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
So I'm gonna go down there like a good little soldier, and then drop it off and walk home. It'll be cool.
Walk home.
It's close. It's like 2 miles,
Oh,
but it's my chance to get sunlight.
That'll be 2 hours out of your, or I guess probably an hour out of the 5 hours you need to be spending outside.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
What is your plan when the internet is taken out? Phones are acting up here on the East Coast. Is today the end of the world? I hope not.
Yeah.
Shit I want to do today. My wife just told me she's going like to Pilates or something at noon.
Nice. I'm trying to figure out how to make a schedule for the YouTube channels so that people can see when shows are going to be they're going to be airing and stuff.
Oh, what do you mean? Just like, can't they just go to our YouTube channel and see it?
Yeah, but like a central spot for multiple channels.
I don't
So, like, you
understand.
get when the programming and coffee pods and wads and barbell spin. and
Oh.
like when they go live.
Don't spend any time promoting their shit. Fuck those guys.
No, oh, okay. All right. Well, then just go to our channel, subscribe, and turn on.
Where are you gonna put it? Can it be on our YouTube channel where people can see all the people?
I have no
on
idea.
Oh,
Beginning stages of that process.
how the fuck does our show from yesterday have so many views? People like
With Taylor?
Colton and Taylor that much?
Yeah, I was also gonna say I went back and looked at all of Taylor's shows that he was on,
Yeah.
and over the past month, every open announcement, people would go back and watch to figure out who Taylor was.
Oh, the podcast. Maybe we should. Oh, hey, maybe we should make that the landing one for a little while.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Could do that.
Do you know how to do that?
I think so. If not, I'll figure it out.
I think I might do a news today.
All right.
All right. Does anyone have anything to say before I hang up? Love Taylor coming on. He needs to be a regular. He has his own show
He is a regular.
on Thursdays, yo. Asymmetric Ears, Dave, weekend review. Oh, shit. Is that up already? The Dave Castro. Oh, shit, it is up. Let me see how long this. 22 minutes, for fuck's sake. What's wrong with you? Why would you do that? Okay. Oh, he must have just uploaded it because the thumbnail is not even working. All right. Well, so I guess I will be doing another show tonight. I got to figure out when Susan can do it. I could call Susan and ask him that too. I don't even know when I can do it. I better not do that. How come my wife's not calling me back?
She's doing Pilates.
Dudes are competing as women in the open.
Ooh. Do tell.
Love you, Sevi. Have some more fun medical stories for another time. Also, Caleb had to get an IVC filter this weekend.
IVC filter.
Okay. When's the next comment?
Oh shit! Wow.
Is that good or bad?
It's a medical procedure. It's called an inferior vena cava filter placement. Small incision in a vein did they put it in your groin or you put it in your neck? and they just throw it up into your freaking big old vein. Damn, that's crazy.
You know what's crazy too? Okay, Brandon, love you.
Okay.
Russell Berger's on in a couple days. He's kind of like the
Again,
same, he's like the same as Raw of Earth, but different. Same, different.
yeah. He's starting to become a regular too.
I would love for him to be a regular. He's awesome. And then Fee Sagaffi's coming on.
Oh, super fun.
Yeah, she took
Oh,
her level 2. And then Matt Schindeldecker's coming on Saturday. I really like the guests I have coming on. And then Greg, of course, on Wednesday. This is cool.
I met Matt at Broken Science. He's a really nice guy.
He's awesome, right? It's funny. I've had him on the show and I've talked to him a shitload of times. And I saw him at Greg's and I didn't even my brain didn't even register. I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, hey, Matt Schindeldecker. I'm like, what the fuck? As soon as he said it, it all comes into place. I don't think I store anything in my RAM.
Yeah, like when you talk to people on the...
Just in general, like that's why everyone thinks I have a bad memory, because I don't store anything in the RAM. I just keep the RAM wide open.
That makes sense.
And then like I have to dig through like the slower big storage unit. Like if you want something, I have to like really like, I need like some help finding it. Third shelf on the bottom, second floor, go all the way to the left, more. Okay, now stick that in your RAM. Okay, like my CPU's all just have the RAM wide open. Oh yeah, Brook Ends. Oh yeah, let me see what's going on with Brook Ends. That's good. Brook Ends. Brook. Oh, here's the thing. I'm afraid. Can I text him? I'm afraid if I had to change the password yesterday on my... Oh, okay. That's interesting. When I text from my computer, it pops on my phone, but when I text from my phone, it doesn't pop on my computer.
Sometimes it takes a little bit. Like if I'm just texting from my phone, it'll just only go to my phone. But if I start using my computer, it'll only go to my computer. I don't know. It's fucking weird.
That's weird. Okay. Jugular. That's a good word. Jugular.
Damn, that's wild.
I don't think I'm doing 24.3. I did the first two. I'm good. I think I'm tapping. What? Fuck you.
You're better than most of the people that sign up for the open, I guess.
Oh, is this working? Oh, oh shit. Someone just called on the phone. Wait, what the fuck is going on? Did someone just call on the phone? Recents. No one called. Oh no, someone just texted me. Is this working? No. Shall I respond back to them? No. Can I call you? Are you around? I just fucking call me. Don't text me that shit. Can I ask you a question? No. Oh, listen, look at this. My mom loves watching your podcast. Someone just texted me that. That's cool. What should I write back to that person? I love your mom. Wow, people text the podcast phone. I love your mom. I love your mom. If your mom watches this show, something's wrong with her. 22 months after entering custody, she performed a dangerous self-surgery and removed her own testicles.
What?
So that's something else. Someone sent me a link to a story of someone who removed their own testicles.
Oh.
Damn, there's a lot of text messages on this phone.
You just never check it, huh?
No. It's just yeah, that's weird. Okay. Hold on. Let me see. I'm going to call my wife one more time. Sevi, I need a patch for my laptop from the podcast. A patch? What's a patch? No dick pics.
Hello, you
Son of a bitch.
Woman.
So all I learned from the show today is that I shamed my son yesterday. What a douche nozzle. I mean, I did apologize, but I'm going to go in there and I have to raise his frequency again. Damn. Oh, you want a sticker? Sevan, I need a patch for my laptop from the podcast. Oh, like we have like this? I have this sticker.
Oh yeah. Who made those?
I don't know, but they're nice. They're like
Yeah, I like the thick stickers.
I stuck one on the door of my office. Did you see this? Oh.
Oh shit. It's gone.
Nope. Yep, that's gone too. Fucking A. God, I suck.
Your overhead. I did see the overhead view.
Oh.
That was cool when it worked.
All right, guys. Thank you. I'll see you guys later today for the Dave Castro Weekend Review. Caleb, thank you. Robert, thank you. Bye-bye.